Hello, my love. Welcome to the Coming Home podcast. I am your host, Dr.Onalee. I was just sitting on the couch watching Desperate Housewives, and I just got the intuitive hit to get on here and to record a podcast for you. And so I'm actually going to also be sharing this to my YouTube channel. So I'm here in my pajamas, no makeup, no nothing on, but I wanted to turn the video on for any of you guys who want to be seeing the video version of this. What I'm here to help you with right now is move through heartbreak, through despair. One of the risks that we take when we open our hearts to being in love is that we can fall out of love and we can go through a lot of pain, a lot of grief, a lot of despair, loneliness. We might think that we're proving ourselves right, that we're never going to find the one. We might think that we're proving ourselves right, that love hurts. Love means disappointment. That nobody will fully love you, even when you're at your best. It's still not good enough. And especially this can become painful when we create patterns over and over and over again. We keep attracting in the same kind of partner or the same kind of dynamic. And that can make us feel like there's something wrong with us. There's something that's our fault. We'll never be with somebody who actually loves us back, who we also are attracted to. And so what I want to help you with right now is releasing some of these stories, these old ideas, these old patterns. But what I want to share is that the way to do this is to be willing to go into the void, the unknown, the doing things differently. I share this all the time. The way to break a pattern is to stop entertaining it. It is that simple. But you know why we repeat patterns and we keep wanting to give something a second chance or try it again, and we ignore the red flags and we paint them green? Because we're avoiding this void. And so if you just broke up with someone broke up with you, or you feel like you just cut off all your options and now you're really single. You're really single and you're starting to feel that despair. Almost that feeling of like, what am I doing? Am I okay? Like, what's happening? I don't even have any other options. It feels like it's going to take forever for me to be with someone. Do I date? Do I just sit on the couch? Like, what do I do? And so I want to comfort your heart. The one who's either feeling heartbreak, feeling lonely, feeling despair, or you're about to be stepping into the void where all of those feelings exist. And so just know that that's on that other side of you not entertaining or repeating a pattern or really closing the door. When you really close the door with the narcissist and you keep that door closed, there will be pain and grief and despair and insecurities to heal, to release, to breathe into, to let them pass. You breathe into it, and then you let it go. What happens, why so many of us get stuck into then the energy of depression, where you've lost hope. We get stuck in the energy of insecurity, unworthiness, not good enough. Those are all the normal, natural feelings that you will feel in the void when you're breaking a pattern or when you're closing a door that you know you need to close. Those feelings aren't going anywhere. Those feelings have been lingering around for a very long time, usually from childhood. But somewhere along the lines, it felt too heavy and too painful to feel and process and breathe into and accept and welcome in those kind of feelings because they're very heavy. They're very painful to breathe into. And so what happens is what most people do is they jump into the next relationship, or they get back with the narcissist, or they shove it down with alcohol, with smoking, vaping, something that has them process the feeling instantly, but artificially. This is how we stay stuck in patterns and cycles and loops and the rat race. And we wonder why we can't seem to meet the right person or why we can't be happy. What happens is that we are not stopping and pausing and organically feeling and processing the emotions and actually healing them, alchemizing them, transmuting them through our breath, through our welcoming them. And so what happens is when we artificially numb them, that first sip of wine, that first hit, that key bump, the whole bag of Doritos, it interrupts the pain. It soothes the pain. That's why we do it. So if you have been tapping into some of those tactics to avoid the void, give yourself grace and compassion and forgiveness. You're trying to help yourself. You're trying to feel relief. That's why you're doing those things. But I'm here to share with you, being a sober woman, that I know it's painful and I know it's very hard to process these feelings. And sometimes we do need to do them with support, not on our own. So I do welcome that if that's something that you need. But I welcome you to be honest with yourself of getting the proper support and doing what you need to do to process and feel these feelings, because I promise you they're not going anywhere. As I was saying, a lot of times they stemmed from our childhood. And so it felt too scary back then when we definitely didn't have the tools and the resources and we didn't have the consciousness. So we didn't know what to do with our feelings and our emotions. We didn't have that emotional intelligence. So we did other things to numb and distract. And then we got addicted to those things. And so now, even as an adult, you may still be addicted to doing some of those things to relieve and numb and soothe yourself from going into that void. But the problem is all of your healing is in that void. You coming out on the other side where you're actually happy, joyful, free, abundant with your soulmate, with healthy relationships. You stop and interrupt the pattern when you know that you can handle and breathe into and process the void. You've processed it before, but never fully. And so I want to help you right now with knowing those feelings aren't going to kill you, although it can feel like that. And it can feel like a death. That's literally the feelings of grief and despair and loneliness. It feels like a death and dying. And that's what we as humans try to avoid all day long, is we don't want to accept death. That feels too scary and too painful. But I promise you, so much healing and so much actual whatever it is you're calling in is on that other side. The cycle's just going to keep repeating, and you're going to keep creating more pain if you just keep numbing it out artificially. It's not going anywhere. That's the problem. That's why it's such an addiction of how we soothe and numb ourselves, especially in this culture. Feels good in the moment. And then what happens when we artificially soothe ourselves? Consequence, bad hangover. You texted your ex, you crashed your car. Now you're gaining all the extra weight, and then now you feel all this shame, and then you have this guilt, and then the cycle over and over again. What I truly believe is that our higher power is not going to validate the way that we're doing things when we're self-soothing and numbing these feelings that we don't need to be afraid of anymore. These feelings that have had power over us, stepping into what it is we're actually worth, stepping into healthy relationships, stepping into your own health, or whatever it is you're declaring that you want. What do we all want, right? We want more money. We want an amazing relationship. We want to be happy. We want our kids to be healthy. We want to live in a beautiful home. We want to feel safe. We want to feel supported. We want to feel financially free. We all want that, right? To some capacity. It might look a little bit different, but the core root of it, we want that freedom. We want that abundance. We want that love. We want that joy, which is available to every single one of us. But what happens is so many people won't actually do what it takes to get to that feeling, that those places, and actually sustain them and hold those kind of feelings and frequencies. Because what we don't realize is that those feelings, those frequencies are readily available always, but we block ourselves when we're avoiding processing and feeling the feelings that would be in the void. We have to feel them and process them and release them and welcome them so that we can let them go, so they have no hold and no power over us. When anything has power or a hold over you, you're not free. And so our higher power does not validate us numbing out and self-soothing artificially and then having all these consequences. That's why so many people hit rock bottom until they actually get sober, until they actually leave that relationship, until it gets so freaking bad. But I'm here to tell you, if that's not a part of your story yet, it doesn't need to be a part of your story. And if it is a part of your story, then use it as the gift for what it is, to make it so clear that you're never going to do that thing again to self-soothe. You're going to find ways and tools, programs, support to help you self-soothe in a natural way and face your pain and accept the death and the dying of yourself and old identities of yourself and old relationships. The thing I want to end on right now is that it might be time to surrender some old stories and some old ideas of what you thought your relationship was going to be or where you thought you'd be by now. Being willing to be wrong about a certain person you thought you maybe were meant to be with, or that was your twin flame. Even though you told everyone about it and you trusted your gut and your knowing and you were so sure of it. But especially if that person's not choosing you and they're not adding more joy to your life and valuing you, that is the sign, my love. And I know it's hard. Trust me, I wouldn't be saying this if I didn't go through it. And I don't watch my clients go through it every day. The sign is, are you saying you want somebody who really chooses you and pursues you and loves you and values you and wants to be with you, and then somebody's behavior is contradicting that, even though you feel like you know they're the one, like you have this gut, this intuition, but yet their behavior is not matching that? This is where they both need to line up, their behavior and your gut and your knowing. And this is where it takes a lot of confidence and courage to really trust in both and be willing to look dumb. I had to be willing to look dumb. I had this a few times where I was so sure the person was the one. I was so sure. Like I knew it. But that person wasn't even fully showing up like they thought I was the one. There were moments, but they were inconsistent. But I'd be like, I feel it. I just know it. Like it's in my gut. It's in my heart. Like I'm sure I feel so clear with this person. I know they're capable of being consistent, but right now they're not being consistent because of this situation and that situation. I would talk myself into it and justify their lack of consistency and their lack of choosing me because I felt I knew. And I felt they would eventually really figure it out that they know too. Like, I'm going to give them more time. Or once they're over their obstacle and their hurdle and they've ended up grieving their brother passing, that can be stuck in cycles and loops for years with multiple people, years of hoping they come around. That's why I get to be qualified in teaching this and sharing this, because I had to have my own firsthand experience of pain and so many years of holding on to hope to learn that it has to be both their behavior matching and what I feel I know. And I had to get really vulnerable and have a lot of humility and be willing to let go of the old idea and the fantasy and the narrative that I had of what I thought this relationship would be and what I thought our future was going to look like. I had it so clear, I felt, and especially being a very intuitive person, I felt like I know. I don't want to let that go. But to me, that was my pride. If I'd really took an honest look, I was being prideful. I don't want to admit defeat. I don't want them, when they told me they weren't sure, they thought it wasn't meant to be, I don't want them to be right. How silly is that? You know how much time I, in quotes, wasted? That was my wisdom and my lessons. That I'm willing to be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong about what I thought this relationship would be. I'm willing to, in quotes, let them win. Cool, they can be right that we we weren't meant to be. Let them be right. Let them be right. That's part of choosing yourself. If you struggle like I used to with people don't choose me, the guy doesn't choose me, but the guy that does choose me, I don't like him. If you struggle with that frame, that idea, that story, that pattern, that loop, and you're ready to dissolve it, start choosing yourself. How do you choose yourself? Okay, if somebody's not choosing you, you walk away. You don't talk yourself into staying and making excuses for them. You value yourself enough to know that there's an abundance of potential people you could be with. You don't need to be so hung up on one choosing you. So you start to become chosen when you're choosing yourself. It can also be the energy of letting go of good for great. You're willing to walk. You're willing to say, I deserve more than somebody who's breadcrumbing me or inconsistent or unsure about me or wants to see where this is going after so much time. When you declare and decide you deserve more than that, and you have the confidence to walk away, and you're willing to even be on your own, you don't even need a backup kind of person, you're a magnet. It's saying, I'd rather love myself and value myself and honor myself and be with myself than be with someone who's going to breadcrumb me. But what I've noticed with people when they settle in narcissistic relationships is they do the opposite. I'd rather be with somebody breadcrumbing me, someone inconsistent that I know I sometimes get a hit of dopamine when we hang out, even though I feel this sorrow and this despair and this grief when I don't hear from them and they're inconsistent and they ghost me, or I found out they chose somebody else and then they come back to me and absolutely not. But that's the power dynamic and the energy when you're in a narcissistic kind of relationship. It's saying I'd rather have breadcrumbs than be with myself and alone. You choosing yourself is I would rather be alone than breadcrumbs. And so that's what we're going to finish on right now. Go ahead and close your eyes. Don't do this if you're driving. Take a deep breath in. Let it go. Place your hand on your heart. Know that your hands have healing energy. Give that healing energy that you give to other people to yourself. Wrap your heart with so much love and healing. Wrap your whole body in love and healing. Make a declaration that you're going to choose yourself. If that feels real for you and right for you, that you're going to love yourself, which is as simple as it sounds. You give yourself love. I didn't say arrogance and being self-centered and grandiose. That's not love at all. I'm talking loving yourself, thinking beautiful thoughts about you. You're kind to yourself. You're compassionate to yourself. You're patient with yourself. You're graceful with yourself. Just like you would want somebody to talk to you, you talk to yourself that way. So fill your heart up with so much love. Hold yourself, soothe yourself. You can ask for a healing on how to organically soothe yourself and how to be supported with processing grief and despair and loneliness or whatever you maybe are afraid to face on the other side of letting go of a relationship. Asking, what do you need to be able to process that and feel that? And go ahead when you're ready and open your eyes. Be gentle with yourself. I know you maybe have gone through a lot of pain and a lot of heartbreak and a lot of getting your hopes up. I want to help you start to delete that kind of programming, those old stories, patterns, ideas, loops. Trust that you've been led here, you've been guided here. There's a part of you that really is ready and willing to release and let that go. And I just want to give you hope that it is possible. You can keep surrendering it over. You can keep letting it go. Keep loving yourself, bringing love into your body, into your heart, choosing yourself. That would be the greatest thing I could share with you right now. That would be what I would tell my younger self who kept waiting for somebody to choose me. I had a pattern, you guys. The guy would leave me. He'd choose somebody else and I'd be heartbroken, despair, so much insecurity, so much unworthiness. I'm not pretty enough. I remember one of them, they said, I love you, but I like her. And they chose to go date the older girl. It lasted maybe 3 days. And I remember just in my bed, like, oh my God, I can't even breathe. What? That was like at that time, the deepest pain. I was so young and emotionally immature. I didn't know how to handle that or process that or not internalize that. So what did I think? I thought, oh, that girl, her hair is so straight and shiny and she's older and she's popular and beautiful and skinny. And here I am with my braces and my acne and my bangs, and I'm uncomfortable. I'm starting to gain weight. My best friend just found a new best friend. I don't even have like a good friend right now. He was just mirroring back to me and reflecting my own insecurities and my wounds, but it created evidence out there that I was right about my insecurities. The reason he doesn't like me, he's choosing someone else because I'm not good enough. I didn't do this or know this until way later, after doing so much therapy, so much healing, so much everything, where I could learn to take accountability and responsibility for my part in it, because that's how I called my power back. But that was the story that carried on over and over and over again. So he broke up with me, started dating her. I'm heartbroken. I'm in despair. 3 days later, he comes back. He realized she wasn't all that. Me and that girl ended up being friends too. So I laugh about it because this guy did this to me multiple times. And I was actually friends with all the girls he did. It was a little messed up of a story if we really look at it, but perfect for me to be telling you the story of it right now, because I just want you to know I know how it feels, because he wasn't the only person that did that. So then when another person did it and then another person did it, I'm like, I'm clearly doomed. Guys are only going to leave and come back. Something's like wrong with me. How could it be like so much of a coincidence that guys leave, they come back, they leave, they come back? But here's the thing that I thought we were going to end. So hopefully this is entertaining for you. What I had to learn was that I was the one allowing it. That was my healing. How could they be able to come back if I'm letting them? That's on me. But you know what? There was that insecure version of me who was protecting their own regret. How freaking crazy is that? But that is what we do as empaths. I don't want them to feel so much regret or think I can't be a forgiving, compassionate, loving person. They paid for their mistake and they're sorry and they want my forgiveness. So I think, oh my God, I have to forgive them. And it also was a boost to my ego of like, see, I am all that. You're not going to get better. A little ego boost, huh? And it worked like a charm. But you see, I also was getting a payoff from this. I would then finally learn and discover the guy really did like me and I was the best, or whatever I wanted them to think or believe about me. I got it, but I got it in a painful way, a painful dynamic. And so the true healing for me was, you can't leave and come back. I'm more than fine with you thinking I'm a bitch or I'm entitled or I'm unforgiving, I'm unloving. I had to let go of their regret and guilt and shame, which they all had, but I had to learn to not take that on. That was their choice. And my choice was every time I let them back in. So I had to say no more. But why was I able to say no more? Because I started to know my worth after doing this work. I knew that I was worthy and I was valuable, and them leaving was their choice and their decision as an adult. And that's okay. I had to stop judging them. I had to stop thinking it's because I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough. It just is. That's their choice. And I see that this is a pattern I have to learn from and heal and gain wisdom from. And so when I really knew my worth, then it became a lot easier to shut the door and keep it closed. Like actually stay no contact, not keep blocking, unblocking, blocking, unblocking. Like, no, like keep the door closed. Because I also had to then step into abundance. If not them, someone better. Cool. Or no one. It's fine. I don't need them. I'm not dependent on them. I'm not relying on them. But the times where I would let them come back, I was. I was insecure. I was unworthy. I thought I needed them to love me and validate me and approve me and accept me. And if they're not doing it, then who is? Then I really am a problem. That's my way. My work is all around coming home to yourself, learning to love yourself, accept yourself, validate yourself, and then watch how people mirror that back, or the wrong people start to fall away. This is not an easy journey, but I promise you it's worth it. So, sending you so much love and healing. I'm sure you can already start to feel it. Keep taking some deep breaths in, letting all the fear move out of you, starting to dissipate the grief, the despair, the anxiety, the loneliness, the worry. You are worthy. If you have a desire for a real great big love and joy and peace and abundance and bliss, you're meant to have that. You're going to keep getting led to the tools, the resources, the mentors, the healers, the coaches, the support to help you on your journey. It's just going to be your job to receive, to open up, to be willing to keep taking steps forward. You don't have to do it all in one day. Keep making progress. I'm sending you so much love. I hope to see you in my work, in my course, the homeschool, or on my Instagram. Say hi. But I'm so glad that we connected, and I will keep sharing content for you.